Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Step Up to Rise Up. I'm your host, Linda Nelson, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today, we are ending our series on discovering and sharing our stories. This is part 4. In case we're meeting for the first time, as I said, I'm Linda Nelson, and I am passionate about helping you show up with your best self so that you live your very best life. And one of the ways that we really grow as people and connect with one another is through story. And so this past month, we've been talking a lot about not only sharing our story and how it can help another person, but also discovering our own, because it's often in sharing our story and listening to others' stories that we actually develop our own even further. So far, to recap, in week 1 of this 4-part series, we talked about the benefits there are to really delving into your story and seeing the lessons you've learned in your life and all the ways that you've come through and all the strengths that you have as a result of living this life that you're living. So we started then with week 2, and week 2 talked about our past. And everybody has things that they've struggled with in their past. The key is, can we go back and make sense of that? Some of our limiting beliefs are held back there. Some things that happened to us, messages or old stories that we tell ourselves happened way back as kids. And these are stories that you didn't even write yourself. So it's important to go back and revisit those so that we can go forward, make sense of it, keep the lesson, but toss the experience and see what it is we actually learned from that. And then if we have some challenging things that are preventing us or limiting us from our full potential, it's important to rewrite that or reframe it for ourselves to make it more empowering, because it is stopping us from our best self or our future chapter. Week 3, we talked about our present chapter. And in that, we talked about the importance of, that's where we live. That's why it's really important to live in the present and to be mindful of all the things that we have going on, even in challenging times, of all the things that we're grateful for. And the practice of gratitude makes mindfulness possible. And it also, when we are purposeful in being mindful, we are able to find joy despite the challenges, find joy in the everyday. And then it's our task to create more joy in our life by focusing on the precious present. So that was last week. And then this week now, we're going to talk about the power that you have in writing your future chapter. Once we've made sense of the past and we immerse ourselves in the joy and the meaning that there is right here, right now, we can create a future that we can get really excited about and then take baby steps every day to get there. So with that, I'm going to jump into today's topic of just really envisioning a future story that can inspire you to continue on with your life by taking those little baby steps every day, as we said. So in thinking about our future and envisioning the future chapter we want to write, we have so much power in that. We can create the life that we want, and we can become who we're created to be, living out our full potential as we look to our future. So this is the time for us to set goals and really think about what's important, what our priorities are, get really clear about what our visions are, and dream big, because we are capable of really big things. We just have to visualize it, if you will, and then plan it so that we create what it is we want. So here are the top 3 ways. There's many, but we're going to talk about the 3 ways that you can visualize your future and start working on creating that next chapter in your life. So, number 1 is dream. Really spend some time thinking about and getting clear about what it is you want. That's key to writing your next chapter. And one of the exercises that you can do that's effective to really write about that in a lot of detail is one of the exercises that's mentioned in the companion guide that goes along with this training. And that is to write a letter to your future self. And you're going to talk about your letter, about what's going on in your life in the future, that future life that you want, and congratulate yourself for getting there. But you're going to write that in present tense as if it's already happened. And that's a great way for you to visualize what your life is like and then read that letter to yourself often so that your brain begins to see the possibilities, to lean into those things and start manifesting the things that you want. By the way, if you want that guide, it's still available. I just need your email address. And there's a form up at the top in the group about giving me that information so I can get that sent off to you. Number 2, another way to really think about your next chapter is to create what's called a vision board. And there are ways you can do that now digitally, but you can also do it the old-fashioned way, and that is by cutting out what your pictures of what you want. Maybe it's a dream vacation, or maybe it's writing a book, whatever those things are that you're dreaming about for your future. Signify that visually with some pictures that you cut out of magazines, for example. Or if you're a Canva user, you can go into Canva and create a digital one by bringing in photos perhaps, or scenes. Like on my vision board, I have a mountain retreat. I want to have my business pay for that mountain retreat vacation. And so that vision board, mine is done digitally, but I took a copy of it and I have it on my phone, so I see it often. And again, it plants those seeds. It puts in your mind what's possible. And then when you talk about your future as though it's already happened, the mind doesn't know the difference between what actually does happen and what you envision will happen. So this can be very, very powerful. And then lastly, step 3 is you want to have some kind of a plan. And you want to lay that out in terms of your big goal. Is that a 3 to 5 year goal? Is it a 1 year goal? Whatever that might be for you. Because we can, write our chapters in smaller chapters or bigger chapters. You have the choice because you own the pen. But one of the things you can do then is to break that down into, say it's a year goal, like you want to go on a vacation with your family. You're going to need to create some money goals, maybe the place that you're going. There's lots of details that you can put into that, but it's more effective for your brain not to have to look at the overwhelming big goal, but rather break it down. What do I have to do each month to get there? What do I have to do each week of the month to get there? And what little daily steps can I take every day to ultimately make my month happen by setting up weekly goals and then eventually daily goals? So the key to ensuring that your future vision, the life that you want, that chapter that you're creating, is to take aligned baby steps every day toward what you want. And we don't need to get wrapped up in the time necessarily. It can take a year, it can take 3 years, it can take 5 years, but you want to get excited about what's in your future. And you want to take steps toward it every single day. So remember, you have the power within you to create that life that you want. And I'm so excited to help you along the journey in writing your narrative, helping you to make sense of your past so we can get you unstuck from what's holding you back, finding ways to experience more joy in the present, and then writing that future story. So that's what we've been doing this month. It doesn't have to end here. At the end of the month, you can take all that you learned and continue to work on these pieces in the course of the next several months. So remember, there's a companion guide to this series. I'll keep the all the different videos pinned up at the top in the featured posts for a time. And then if you want that guide, either comment guide in the comments and I'll reach out and get that to you, or fill out the pinned form where you just give me your email address and I'll get that sent off. So have a wonderful week, everyone. Easter's coming up. I hope you take some time to reflect in this Holy Week about the greatest story ever told, and that is the story of the journey to the cross. And then on Sunday, celebrating the resurrection story. It is a really good story to get into as you think about your own story. So there you have it, my friends. I will see you back here starting next week for another month of focused attention on content. We're going to go into growth because spring is coming and I'm anxious about getting into my gardens, and we're going to talk about growth and growth strategies during the month of April. Also, I have something I'm excited about that I'm creating that I will be bringing forward to you the month of April. So stay tuned for details on that. And then be looking for some stories this week. I'm going to post some stories of some of my clients and some of their story of working with me and how their life changed as a result. And I hope that that will inspire you to know how important sharing your story is too. We can impact people in such powerful ways, and I want that for each one of you. So bye for now. I'll see you next week, same time, noon Central on Monday, for another episode of Step Up to Rise Up.